Good afternoon. This week I've been attending online a preaching conference called the Festival of Homiletics. And one of the sessions was music by the band The Many. Included in that concert, there was a devotional offered by one of their lyricists, Lenora Rand. And she reminded me of something that I used to enjoy when I went to my grandmother's house. She talked about her grandma's button jar, and that sparked my memory of not only my grandma's, but my mother's button jar as well. Um, I just have a fascination with buttons, and this collection of antique buttons that I came into a year or so ago is often just laid out so that people can see the many different kinds of buttons. One thing that I love about these buttons is that they're nearly all different. There are some wooden ones, there's some with shanks that stick out. There's some that have really cool texture and some shapes that are carved out of the buttons. And probably one of my favorite kind of buttons are square or rectangular buttons. I know that's kind of odd. Most buttons are round, but for some reason I like the more unusual ones. Usually on a piece of clothing, all the buttons match. But when we lose a button, we need to go to the button jar, or at least in the olden days before it was just easier to buy another piece of clothing. People would go to the button jar and they would look for a button that was similar to the button they'd lost. But Lenora and I both have this fascination with the different kinds of buttons that we find in Grandma's jar. Maybe it's the shiny one. Maybe it's the bright red one with a different shape. Maybe it's the fuchsia one or the plaid one. I think the reason I like button jars is that it reminds me of people. Just like Grandma's button jars, the world is full of people who are unique. It reminds me of a scripture from the Psalms, Psalm 139. Beginning in verse 13, we read, "For you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well." So often in our world, we are made to feel like we have to match everyone around us, that we need to fit in. But quite honestly, it is the uniqueness with which we have been made that makes us special and makes us a gift for the world and for each other. So I encourage you today to accept the unique qualities that God has placed within you. And likewise, I encourage you to accept the unique qualities of other people, because that's what makes the world special. On my last birthday, my husband and my artist son, Stephen, surprised me with a gift that they had made. Now, you may think that my husband would not take an interest in all of these buttons, but he has embraced it. And he took the symbol of the treble clef sign. It's reversed here because we're shooting front-facing selfie camera. But he took the treble clef sign, had my son paint it, and then he sewed on all of these unique buttons from my button collection. And it's because each of them is unique that this is so interesting and beautiful. Imagine if all the buttons were alike. It wouldn't be nearly as interesting. And likewise, in our world, if we were all alike, the world wouldn't be nearly as interesting. So embrace your unique qualities and embrace the unique qualities of others in this beautiful world. Amen.